we talk about today. Again, I just want to briefly finish our talk about forms, and I'll go right into doing something in Sketch, and then you can come up here and tell us how your final project's going, and then we'll go and have some lunch. How about that? In that order. Okay, so I thought this was probably one of the best readings about forms, and let me put this into a different browser. This browser is yeah. And have you read about the history of the Firefox? There was a recent article that I was reading. Where's my zoom function? I need to zoom out a little bit. So again, I found this probably to be one of the better readings about forms, specifically about the UI part, user interface. How do I, colors, shapes, text, and so on. Those are the kind of things that, of course, you have in a form. And this kind of goes through and shows some forms that are not working, some that are working. And, the do's and don'ts, I guess, is probably the best way to describe it. Again, this is kind of older. It's October 15th, 2013. But, of course, we've all been using form. So when I use the word form, it's basically, some kind of user input. Most of us do login and password and something like that when we log into Canvas or when we log into our email and so on. So you've already learned basic form. You've all used them. Interaction with which information is exchanged to receive a product or a service, right? A service would be what? Your email product. I'm buying something on Amazon. Remember the one-click Amazon purchase? Ooh, that was evil. That was quite evil. Anybody make a mistake and click on something and bought something they didn't really want? I'd made that mistake. You're sitting there, you're looking at it, and you're thinking about a product, and for somehow you click on a button, and boom, it shows up, 3 days later, and you're like, I didn't want to buy this, and so the Amazon one-click thing was great, but I turned that off right away. Right? You turn off your one-click on Amazon. At least go through the process of, confirming my email address. I didn't even confirm. Do you remember that? It was just like you just click one button and boom, it's already there. You didn't even confirm your credit card. You didn't even confirm anything. Hopefully they changed that. I don't know, but I made a mistake. Camera. It was like a $1,600 camera shows up at my door. I'm like, did I click on that button? I was looking at it. So I don't know. That was kind of a, at least a form you can look and hopefully you can back out. We used to use the word submit and reset. Do you remember that? No, they don't really use reset anymore. The forms are about task completion. You have something to complete. I want to buy something. I want to order something. I want to go somewhere. And then, of course, they're going through more of a flat design here. And what I mean by that, I wanted to zoom out, but not that far. Again, they're talking more about flat design here. Again, take example of form, submit and cancel actions. Clearly, these two actions have very different results. And then, of course, I show an example here. And, of course, an example here where the button is much bigger, right? Over here, you'll see the cancel or submit is the same kind of text. At least this one, you have the nice big submit there. And then, back in the early days, I remember back in the 90s, late 90s, I used to have discussions about, do you include the submit or the reset first, right? And what I meant by that is left and right. Is it the submit on this side and reset on this side, or is it submit on this side and reset on this side? We never came to a conclusion. The whole point was, to think about it. Then they got the three biggest ways flat forms fail. Lack of afforance means, does the object physical or digital suggest use, like a chair? Is it a button? Should I click on it, basically? insufficient distinction of form elements, making sure that you label things. I was going through. I was going to go through the Apple one with you if I can find. I swear I had an Apple. Not this one. You know, again, the big blue box. They want you to buy the 16-inch instead of the 13, right? Of course, you're going to have the more expensive one highlighted, right? Did you see the new 16-inch MacBook Pro? Right? They haven't had a 16-inch. It's always been a 13 and a 15-inch. Now they got a 16-inch. I will purchase that and have it ready for next semester if you want to come and see. Okay? Where was I? I lost my... Insufficient hierarchy within categories of form elements. Again, it's basically organization and making sure that people can go through the form appropriately. One of the things you might need to consider also, and is that, and this is a programming element, is in accessibility. And of course, if somebody can't see the form, it has to read it to them. And it has to read it to them in an order that is appropriate. And so how we do that is by numbering the input boxes. Okay, so if you're going to make a form and it's going to follow accessibility guidelines, if somebody cannot see it, you have to properly number so that it goes in the order that you want them to go through, right? You know, maybe you have a form where you have some information here, and then you have some information here, and maybe you have some information there, and you have some information there. If the person can't see that, and the computer's reading it to them, if there's an option here, and then an option here, and then an option here, and then an option here, what order does it read it to them? This way, this way. You as a programmer in HTML, you need to program it properly for that. And when you're building a form, it's a major part of it. Okay, especially if it's a government website. So, okay. Am I talking to myself over there? So again, the elements that you see here, whatever, let's move on down. They say this one's a bad one because, of course, you can't tell the difference between can I add more people to this quantity. It's this quantity. Do I have to highlight it and then type a number in? Wouldn't it be better maybe a pull-down menu there, right, with a little arrow? What's the pull-down menu in HTML? Programming-wise? Select. Okay, select, S-E-L-E-C-T, is a pull-down menu to give you that option. And so, you know, they were talking about that. Let's see. Fixing fields. Let's look at the difference before and after, focusing first on fields. The mobile sign-up form for histogrammatic, whatever that is, starts the screen below. And so, hipstermantic. Enter your email to begin. Where do I enter my email? Look, there's no box there, right? Oh, they made a box. Simple as that. Oh, they changed the color so it's white and stands up the background. Okay, so, and the same here with the Facebook news feed and so on. And you can see nice clear pull-down menus. One of the problems really is with the cell phone. With a computer, working with form is quite easy. You got a keyboard, it's quite nice and big. You got your mouse, you can easily click from field to field to field. But with the phone, you know, things close together, your fingers are fat. So really, they are. So, you know, you really, if you're making a form for the phone, you really need to make it spacing wise in order for them to touch appropriately and so on. It's very, very important. And so, again, accessibility as well. You know, you got your accessibility and finger. So the phone is a really difficult thing to design for as far as that is concerned. What else do we have? Making sure that people put in the appropriate information is, of course, what is that term called? validate, right? You need to make sure that when the person, see the little asterisk right here, right? So if they put something in there appropriately, right, you need to validate it. And they must put it in there. And then if they get it wrong or they don't, you need to tell them what field that they didn't put in. You ever get to a form and you fill the whole damn thing out, and at the very end you hit the submit button and it says you forgot to do something, but they don't tell you what you forgot to do, right? At least in the most modern ones, at least they highlight red around the red box around the one you're missing and so on. But making sure you understand those things, I think, is important. Okay. I just thought that was a good article. You can read it. I do have a Word document that is here that it's linked up to Canvas. It has some videos that you can watch. It talks a little bit about encryption as well. We did talk about that last class when we talked about sending data over a form. Make sure it's secure. All the data that you send over a form should be secure using encryption. Usually that's done through the actual browser itself and not necessarily in the form. And what I mean by that is, when you look at a website, making sure it has the S up here, which means the entire site has been encrypted. So any data that's being sent, like right here in Canvas, there's an S here. Everything that I send and read and send, when I send you an email and through Canvas, it's encrypted. I mean, you read it at the other end. You don't really see it. It's doing it in the background. But that data is encrypted so that people can't view it. Nobody can just hack in and see what I'm sending you. So making sure things are encrypted is important. You can do that quite easily if you sign up for if you have your own website, you sign up for encryption. I pay an extra fee so that people can purchase products on my wife's art website. Have you seen my wife's art website before? Maybe you've seen it. Okay, so there's you just pay for it, and they send you an encryption key, and then you include it into your page, and it's secure. So if somebody uses their credit card, it's encrypted, and you don't steal their data. God forbid somebody buys something on my wife's website, and sure enough, boom, it's somebody's credit card is stolen. I would feel so bad. So, if you want to buy something, I give away one piece at the last day of class. One piece only. Raffle it off. But I'm going to have a show next Sunday at the Triton Museum. Not this Sunday coming up, but the Sunday after. I know where the Triton Museum is. It's in Santa Clara. Okay. And then the Wednesday after that, December 5th, at and in fact, you should come to that. It's not a maker space, but a space where people share office space. What is that called? Where they share office space. So there's a bunch of companies all in one building, and they share equipment and they share space. That way they don't have to invest. So they're all startups. I'm going to do a pottery sale there. You should come to that one so that you meet all the startups while you're there. Walk around and see what's going on. That's the place to get a job. These people can't afford their own building because they're a startup, so they come to the shared space, right? I'll send you a flyer where it's at, okay? Wednesday, December 5th. And then while you're there, you can buy a piece of pottery from me. Okay, so again, here is the layer information. Oh, here's the secure sock layer. There it is right there. Secure sock layer is what that is. So the term that we use to describe the S that's in your browser window is called a secure sockets layer. That's a term you should know. That's what encrypts the data over a network for web browsing, email, instant messaging, voice over IP websites. Okay, so the term that we use is called SSL. So if you're signing up for SSL. Where was I at? Oh. And then there's others like two-factor authentication. That's another way. We talked about the CAPTCHA last class and so on. Then I had some form examples here. Remember we talked about signing up Facebook, Google, so on. There's our famous Google login, famous Facebook login, famous buying a Dell computer login, and so on. So I include some of those in there. Okay, let's go through buying a Mac real quick so we can look at some form elements and see if Apple's doing it properly. So of course they're kind of leading you through this form, right? They're highlighting where they want you to click, right? They want you to buy the more expensive one. If you're confused, we can help. Notice how they use blue with the underline, and of course the rollover effect really helps too. That doesn't really work on a cell phone though, does it? You don't really roll your finger over top of the button. So, you know, when we first went to responsive design, that was one of the major kind of drawbacks, is that we're so used to knowing where the mouse is on the computer screen and doing this rollover effect that, you know, this thing doesn't really have it. And I remember talking about that when we first started doing things for cell phones and touchscreens. But again, you can go through and you can see their list. And then, of course, I get this nice big blue box that kind of highlights a little bit when you roll over it, just slightly, right? Just slightly. And then, of course, they got these other rollover effects. And, of course, our little heart. I don't know what favoriting does. I guess I have to log in to favorite that. Uh-oh, did you see that? Apple ID. And nice big boxes here for Apple ID and password and so on. And then their blue box there. I think they're generally using the blue because, you know, blue was always a traditional link in standard web design. If you remember the old days of web design, links were always blue with blue underlines and things like that. So if we choose the one we want and go through, you'll see they have a sticky box down here that stays there. Of course, you can do that quite easily in web development by, you know, making a div tag that's aligned to the bottom of the web page, right? Okay, so you should learn about how to do sticky elements in HTML like that. We kind of do, you know, it's kind of like when you have the bar at the bottom of an app too, right? Again, they have nice big blue boxes telling you what the options are, and you can easily change them, and notice how the blue goes there. I mean, a lot of these things are you're like, oh, Jeff, you know, that's common, you know, we all do that. But, you know, you don't really realize it because you're doing it every day. But thinking about it and understanding it is, I think, rather important. And then you go through and you can choose what you want. Ooh, we want 2 GB hard drive. We want, English. Oh, look at the pull-down menu right there. Look at that. Okay, and there's a lot of languages in there. I think one of the biggest problems with pull down menus is, you know, something like this isn't too big, but do you ever go and use the one for a Google Translate? And, you know, there's like, you know, 700 languages around the world. You know, it's a big long list. Pull down menus are very difficult when it's very long like that, especially on something like this. And, you know, and I hate the date picker on the Apple. Who has an iPhone? Right? You ever try the date picker where it has that little wheel that you got to go through and try and choose the date? Yeah, the standard date picker is very, I don't know why Apple went for that. Where on Android, I think they use more of a calendar, right? I think they use more of a calendar. Again, you got your big boxes, and then they show you what's in the box and so on. And then you add to the bag. Goes to a new screen. You can review your bag, or you can go through and add more stuff. I need that, I need that, I need that, I need this, I need this, and I need this. Now, here's a problem I find is that it doesn't tell me. It says item added to bag, but it doesn't change the color of it. So I go back and I might hit that again. Did I click on that? I know it says item added to bag, but I really think they should either change the color or something like that to know that I actually did this, because I end up clicking on it twice and all it says is item. It doesn't say 2 items added to bag, it just says item added to bag. They should put a 2 there to tell me I hit that twice. Don't you think so? Maybe Apple needs to, you know, pay me for their user experience, right? Remember, you can sign up to test Facebook. Facebook will pay you $100 to go over there and test their stuff for an hour or 2 hours, I think it is. So you might want to sign up, be a Facebook tester. It's one way to get in the door there, maybe. I don't know. Sign up to be a Facebook tester. Oh, look at this screen. I would love to have this LG Ultrafine 5K display. Boom. What else do we need? I don't know what else I need. Okay, let's review my bag. Oh, don't forget the Apple Care. You need that. Yeah. What's my total? $6,410. Woo! Oh, I need the AirPods. Free engraving. Oh, how do I add it? Oh, add to bag. Look how far down it is. Woo! It's $249 for the AirPods. Wow, quite expensive. Okay, you get the idea. It's fun to go through a form and stuff. Hey, we found one little thing I didn't like, right? Remember that? So, testing things and doing things I think is rather important. Okay, let me stop this video for